to the high of the 70s and 80s, Indian sports hit a plateau in the 90s. But then emerged three individuals who redefined their sport and turned things around. Leander Paes took Indian tennis to uncharted territory. Jaspal Rana was the poster boy of Indian shooting, and Vishwanathan Anand was on top of the mind games. We are entering the home stretch of our journey as we look back at 60 years of Indian sports. I'm Digvijay Singhdeo, and today we look at the fifth decade, an era when a new generation stepped up and carried the torch forward. Joining me on the show today is Asian Games gold medalist Gaurav Natikar from Pune, and in the studio Novi Kapadia, sports commentator. Thank you both for joining us. Okay, an Olympic medal is the pinnacle of sporting success, and India's 44-year wait for an individual Olympic medal came to an end when one of the stars of Indian sports, Leander Paes, won bronze at Atlanta in 1996. He was already an icon due to his Davis Cup exploits. The Olympic medal marked him for greatness.
1990 and a new star had announced himself on the horizon. Leander Paes emulated the likes of Ramanathan Krishnan and Ramesh Krishnan by winning the Wimbledon junior title. Success at the top level was hard to come by. But in the Davis Cup, Leander made his name as a giant killer. He raised his game when playing for India and was one of India's only hopes at the Atlanta Olympics.
That's the biggest dream that I've ever had, is to play the Olympics, one, and two, to get an Olympic medal. Atlanta was so focused to do it in singles, basically, because in singles you don't really have to worry about anyone else. You work hard and you know that every ounce of hard work that you put in will pay off.
A pumped-up Leander fought hard against far superior opponents. He made the semis, faced the favourite Andre Agassi, and went down fighting in Atlanta.
I raced to the performance and I got myself to a position at 5-6 in the first set when Andre was serving 15-40, and I had 2 set points there, and I felt that the match was going in my way. I chipped and charged off a first serve, and showing you the sheer pace and the caliber that Andre plays with, he rifled a backhand return right at my chest. Down break point, down set point. My wrist was in a weak position because Andre was in the backhand corner. I was set at the net and I tried to play an off backhand volley, and with my wrist in a vulnerable position, he actually snapped the tendon between my wrist and my elbow.
There had to be a playoff for bronze. Leander took on Brazil's Fernando Meligeni, lost the first set, but inspired by the weight of expectations of an eager nation, Leander turned it around. He won 3-6, 6-2, 6-4. The first Indian to win an Olympic medal since K.D. Jadhav in 1952.
I got ready to serve and I was down a break point, and there were many thoughts in my mind saying this match is slipping away from you, you've lost the first set, you really got to persevere here. And as I went ready to serve, call it karma, call it what you want, but I got ready to serve, and at this break point, and a little butterfly came and sat on my racket. And as she sat on my racket, I kind of paused and the crowd smiled, and I just felt something come about that actually carried me from that point right up till I stood on that podium and had that medal around my neck.
The accolades kept pouring in for the man from Kolkata, and that inspired him to reach greater heights. The best was yet to come from Leander Adrian Paes.
There's some interesting anecdotes from Leander there. Gaurav Natikar, getting you in as a tennis player and a teammate of Leander. What was going through your mind when he won that Olympic bronze?
Well, I think it was a great achievement, no doubt. He was the first individual gold medal, I think, if I remember correctly, in 40 years. And though our hockey team has been winning medals, for an Indian sportsman, especially for a tennis player, to come out and to win a medal with the kind of level that tennis is at worldwide these days is really amazing.
Gaurav, that win also changed the way people looked at Indian tennis, didn't it? There was more interest in tennis, there was more sponsorship, and it brought more people into the game.
Yeah, I think before that everybody knew of Leander's exploits in Davis Cup, and even on the ATP tour he was known as somebody who could perform only during Davis Cup. I think the Atlanta medal changed all that for a lot of people. They really believed that that tennis was at the forefront and we could produce players, and I think that kind of started a revolution for tennis in India.
You spoke about Davis Cup. Let me get you in on this. We know that when Leander plays for India, he lifts his game to another level. Now, when you were part of the Indian Davis Cup team, when he was playing with you behind the scenes, what kind of a persona did he have? How did he interact with you? Did he carry that same passion into team meetings and everything else?
Well, me and Leander have grown up together. We stayed together for 5 years in Chennai. We shared a room, so I obviously knew him inside out. Nothing was really different at Davis Cup except for the fact that we had people who we were comfortable with, whether it was Naresh Kumar, the coach,
right,
or the other teammates like Mahesh and so on and so forth. And I think that really brought about a camaraderie which Leander was very comfortable with, and that's why he was able to produce his best.
Right. Let's get Novi in here. Novi, one of the things which we look at those results in Atlanta is that all the players he defeated, Richie Renneberg, Thomas Enquist, the third seed, they were all players who were ranked much higher than him.
Yes, somehow Leander was always very motivated. That has been the hallmark of his game. He's never overawed by a player of a higher seeding. For me, one of his greatest wins was at Delhi against Goran Ivanovic, who was then world number 12. Leander was then world 124.
Right.
Crucial Davis Cup match. And look at the difference in serve. It's like a lightweight taking on a heavyweight. It's like Muhammad Ali Qamar trying to fight Muhammad Ali.
Right.
I mean, Goran Ivanovic had one of the best services in the world. Leander just hung on there. There was no way, no doubt Goran got upset. There's some sort of dubious foot calls.
Right.
But the way Leander hung on and won, he really showed that, there's been this always criticism that Indian sportsmen don't fight.
Right.
We don't have that killer instinct.
Right.
Leander showed that the Indians can compete with the best in the world.
Gaurav, one last thing before we go. Now, we all know that you and Leander won 2 gold medals in 94 Asian Games, the doubles and the team event. Any interesting anecdotes you can share with us from that Asian Games?
Well, there were many, but I think the most important thing was that we were not expected to win any gold medal. There was even a doubt whether the tennis team would actually make it to that Asiad. And I remember we were down 2 match points in the semi-finals against an Indonesian pair. And we played well at the crucial junctures and won that match. And the next day when we won the doubles, it was as if the whole Indian contingent had come down to the stadium to cheer for us.
Right. What an achievement that was, and that in fact set it up for 96, didn't it? Gaurav Natekar, thank you for joining us from Pune and sharing all those memories about when you and Leander shared a room back then in the 90s. Okay, now let's move on. Geet Sethi was already a legend in billiards by the 90s, and in that decade he took his game to an all-new level. Geet won the World Professional Billiards title in 1992 for the first time. In that tournament, he made a world record break of 1,276. He retained the title the next year and won it again in 1995. He was awarded the country's highest sporting honor, the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna, for 1992-93.
I started playing for 16 hours a day, trying to rebuild my game. I eventually came in 92 with a new technique, new style of play, and in 92 then I won the world professional title again, getting those really big breaks of 800 plus, and of course the 1276, which was that time a world record.
Right. No, we looked at Geet last time, the last episode, but he took his game from the amateur level to the professional level and succeeded then. It was a great performance, very dominating performance from Geet in those early 90s.
Very dominating, and you see, really, I mean, Geet Sethi continued the tradition. Wilson Jones, the first world title, 1958, Michael Ferreira. But Geet, when he won as a 21-year-old, it seemed he would just remain confined to the amateur ranks,
right,
because he had a lot of other interests. But he was very determined, as he himself said. He practiced so long, and then to compete at a professional level. And Geet is remarkable that he's competed for so many years and still maintain the highest level of excellence. I remember 1998 Asian Games when he lost the gold medal surprisingly. First time this billiards was introduced in the Asian Games. Ashok Chandelier himself was surprised winning the final against him.
Well, Geet Sethi, a legend there. Time for us to head into a break. When we come back, we look at 2 pioneers of Indian sports. Welcome back. Now, sports is not just about guts and glory. Vishwanathan Anand is a living example. The soft-spoken man from Chennai is not your ideal champion. But for the last 17 years, Anand has been at the top of the charts in world chess.
Consistency is the benchmark that sets the good apart from the really great, and Vishwanathan Anand is Mr. Consistent. Vishy burst onto the chess scene in the 80s and in 1988, at the age of 18, was India's first Grandmaster.
Today becoming a Grandmaster is not so difficult. There are about 15 Grandmasters. In those days it was considered to be next to impossible.
Speed was Vishy's forte, and he made a mark playing games at a blistering pace. Soon he was up there with the best, Anatoly Karpov and Garry Kasparov, winning the Reggio Emilia ahead of the two in 1991.
If you see the overall results in those times, either the tournaments were won by Kasparov or by Karpov, and nobody else doing that. And Anand's winning this Reggio Emilia in 1991, or his defeating Ivanchuk in a match in 1992, which came 1 year later. These two things, I think, were a clear sign that he was not going to be content with just a Grandmaster title. He is going to be something, the best in the world.
His defining moment came in 1995 when he qualified for the World Championship final, beating other contenders Michael Adams and Gata Kamsky. In the final, he faced the reigning king of chess, Kasparov. Anand fought hard but ultimately bowed to the Russian superiority. That didn't stop his rise, and he blitzed through tournament after tournament, ultimately winning the chess Oscar for the best player in the world in 1997.
Now, in terms of sheer consistency, his numbers are staggering. We have people who've dominated world sport. We spoke about Prakash Padukone, but that was for a limited period. Anand has been right up there for the last 17 years.
Yes, Anand's consistency is amazing. And above all, what Anand did was, he set a revolution in Indian chess. Because of Anand, now we have so many more grandmasters. We have such a whole new generation playing chess. I mean, he brought chess into the drawing room. I mean, we now know that Sicilian Gambit is not something connected with Godfather movie, but it's a move in chess.
So what it basically did was, it was seen as a niche sport.